Saquon Barkley had said this, who right now, when McCaffrey's healthy, I think he's the best running back in the league, but I think Saquon has been healthy more often, so he's probably viewed as the best running back in the league. He said, I never heard a word from the Commanders or the Dallas Cowboys when I was available. So I'll give the Commanders a little bit of a pass, new ownership, a lot of moving parts. I'll give them a little pass. But the Cowboys had the worst running back room in the league, and they didn't make a phone call on Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley. And we were talking about this morning. I've never owned a Maserati, but the Cowboys and Maseratis are that luxury brand that feel like they spend way too much time in the shop. And right now, I think it's hard for people to wrap their brains around. I think Dallas is a bottom quarter, bottom fifth NFL franchise, but because they've been such a luxury brand, it's hard to wrap your brain around that. Like, you think the Cowboys and you think winning. But right now, I would argue weakest head coach in the sport and not a very good overall staff, because the weaker the coach, the weaker the staff he can assemble. They have not had back-to-back hits in a draft for 5 years. And that was the CeeDee Lamb first round, Trayvon Diggs second round. Those were great. Those were good hits. That's the last time they did that. So in terms of drafting and development and execution, strategic execution in the front office and coaching staff, this has been my 3-year narrative. They're not well run.
Yeah. I mean, I think when you have Saquon Barkley come out and say this, it really just proves such a concrete point that they're not out there making moves that other teams are just not thinking of, or where you can point and say, that was a move, that was smart. Think about the moves. Let's not even use the Kansas City Chiefs, because obviously they're very specific with Mahomes, Andy, Spags, etc. But even then, they made very specific moves that you can point to getting Jugu and, drafting Pacheco. But we'll still put that aside because it's still Mahomes and Andy Reina. If we look at the Rams and look at the Eagles, I think they're the two other teams that have won Super Bowls outside of the Chiefs, if I get my timeline correct. And you can point to such concrete moves, right? The Rams obviously getting out and swapping Goff for Stafford. Huge move that nobody saw coming at all. And no, by any stretch of the imagination did anyone expect that was going to happen, and it happened, right? It was just in a blink of the eye was like, oh man, Stafford, Los Angeles Rams. And then that still wasn't enough. When OBJ was having all his problems in Cleveland and this and that, went out and got OBJ. They went out and got Von Miller. Like, there were concrete moves that when it was all said and done, when they won a Super Bowl, you were like, man, huge move, huge move, huge move. Brilliant, bravo, bravo. And then with the Philadelphia Eagles, going out and even something that's not even a big splash, obviously Saquon's the biggest one, but going out and getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? Getting Bond, getting Becton. Like, these moves were all crucial where who they drafted, they were game-changing, game-breaking, legacy-defining moves. Obviously Saquon the biggest one where around the NFL, because it's funny because Colin's going to call out the Dallas Cowboys here. And the reality is that he can call out pretty much like every single team out there. But the Philadelphia Eagles, because the Philadelphia Eagles are the only ones that said, we're going to pay you and we're going to put you in a position to win. And that's exactly what they did. So the Philadelphia Eagles get way more credit than the Dallas Cowboys should get blame in this specific situation. They still deserve criticism because it's like, you got to make moves if you're trying to win. You got to make moves. But beyond that, I feel that the Philadelphia Eagles are the ones that should be more on the receiving end of praise, because make no mistake about it, and I bang this drum when everybody's heard to have revisionist history about Saquon Barkley and his success with the Eagles. Everyone starts pretending there was a no-brainer, especially when they want to try to downplay what the Eagles did or downplay what Jalen Hurts did. They want to say, oh, Stack, you had Saquon this. And it's like, if all this was true, then why was there not an absolute bidding frenzy for Saquon Barkley? Why did every team not just do everything they could to get Saquon? They didn't. They didn't. They were people. Their people were laughing that the Eagles went out and paid for Saquon. They thought, and I think, what was it like? I forget what the initial deal was, but they were like, this is crazy. How could you ever pay this amount of money? They're overpaying for Saquon Barkley here. What do you think he is? Christian McCaffrey? And it's like, no, I don't think that. I think he's better than Christian McCaffrey, and he proved it. So that's like, don't let the success of the outcome fool you into what the initial decision was and how it was received, because I made those videos. I still remember, oh gosh, his, on ESPN, his name has completely slipped my mind. Dan Graciano was just like, we've never seen Sequin need a team to be. It typically doesn't work out for teams when they overpay a running back. And obviously, we all know Nick Wright's take on it all. And so it's like the Philadelphia Eagles deserve all the praise. Right now, it feels like it was an absolute no-brainer to get Saquon, and the only team that actually saw the vision and understood, the only team that it actually was a no-brainer for were the Philadelphia Eagles because of how well run they are. But again, the Bills didn't go out and do it. The Chiefs didn't go out and do it. The Cowboys, the Commanders, the Rams. I mean, just name all team, even teams that have running backs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Seriously. I mean, it's outside of maybe the Ravens, who then went out and got their version, and they got their Derrick Henry. Although I still think it would be fascinating to get both those guys at the same time. You bring them both in at the same time. You have a conversation, say, we're going to do something weird. We're going to do something crazy. If you guys each just take like 1 million less, that's it. 1 million less. You both are going to feast. You both are going to be monsters. And we are going to have the greatest run game in the history of the NFL. You're both going to feast. You're both going to get your yards. We're both going to win. You guys run in such a unique, it's still fantasy football to me, but I still think like it could work. And I'm like, gosh, Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley on the same team. I just don't know how you ever stop it. No matter what you do, but that's neither here nor there. It's interesting to me. I really feel like the story here is more about how well the Eagles are run. Honestly, I really do, because just think of every single team in the NFL last season. Is there a single team that, and again, maybe outside the Baltimore Ravens, I think would be fair to say, would be a single team that wouldn't have been better if you add Saquon Barkley to their team? And tell me what team couldn't really afford to make room for Saquon if Saquon Barkley didn't command $100 million and a 10-year $100 million. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Even the teams that are cash strapped could have made a move. You would have been better off paying for Saquon than paying $15 million for, insert some random dude here or there, because that's how massive and of an impact Saquon Barkley had. But also make no mistake that Saquon Barkley had a huge year, not just in isolation of himself, but also with Jalen Hurts. Make no mistake about that. I mean, as soon as Jalen went down in that Commander game, I think Saquon had one big run, and then like he was completely sandwiched up, and then he had like a nice game against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys were a disaster of a franchise at that point. But the way how they ran that offense, the constant, is Jalen Hurts going to keep it? Is Jalen Hurts going to keep it and run? Is he going to keep it and throw? Saquon going to have it? I mean, like, they just, from the start to finish of every single game, the defense was constantly just like, who's going to have the ball? What are they looking to do? And really only a couple teams out there would even remotely have the opportunity to even do anything like that, combined with a great O-line and, of course, the weapons that you have to respect of AJ and Devontae. But those guys were in and out of the lineup last year, right? Like, they missed 4 or so games. Dallas got it missing, so it's not like this team was complete start to finish. Clearly was not. So, I don't want to have revisionist history thinking that this was a guarantee that no matter where you put Saquon, they were going to have this level of success, or that once we saw Saquon's success, that it was just obvious that he was going to have this success no matter what, when it was widely criticized. Though Cowboys deserve criticism and the Philadelphia Eagles deserve praise. Pretty much how the 2024-2025 season went. Makes sense? One team had a parade while the other team, the quarterback said, check the record or something. I don't know. Weird comment by D. I don't mean to say, check the record to the Super Bowl champs, but, check the record. It's like, okay, we will check the record. They're the Super Bowl winners, but those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Dallas Cowboys? Are they still an elite franchise? And do you think it's more about the Cowboys and other teams around the NFL, or more about what the Eagles did with going out and getting Saquon? Let me know in the comments below I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with this VVIS, as it helps with the visibility and the algorithm. I don't know how to speak. Thank you so much. See you next time.